Hi, Ehab. I was wondering if you could tell us about your first 2 days in Gaza, what you've seen and who you've met.
Although there's been only 2 days that I've been in Gaza now, they're starting to leave a very strong impression on me. My first day I spent going around to meet people in media organizations. As you know, during the war in Gaza, there was really only one media organization that was reporting from the ground in Gaza, which is Ramatan, a local news agency. And that meeting, although it was a meeting with professionals, journalists, there was a bit of emotional responses to the questions that we asked that showed how affected they are as people by what happened, and how deeply they are taking the attacks on them, and how they are seeing it as a war of elimination that cannot be explained in any other way. Its results are just to dig deeper into the land of Gaza and to force the people to escape. That was actually the response from one of the producers in Ramatan News Agency about the meeting, about our question about the war. But also they showed us footage from before the war where Israel had targeted their building, the building that houses their organization, by 4 missiles in one night. And of course, after the first one, they were filming what was happening. And although they didn't bring the building down, it was obviously one of the attempts to scare media out of Gaza, but they stayed, and most of the others left before the war. We also visited an independent media center called the Community Media Center, and the Community Media Center is tackling another problem. There are many Gazans that have been trained, educated in media work, different disciplines in media work. But because of the reason I mentioned earlier, that there are no media outlets working in Gaza, they're all unemployed, and they can't even, the new graduates among them, can't even get experience. So those people are, the Community Media Center is helping them by helping them produce independent documentaries, and actually partnering with Ramatan, the news agency I talked about a couple of minutes ago, in doing these documentaries. Those were youth who are freshly out of university or college education, and who are very frustrated about the situation where they are. The thing that I heard from then on, and I kept hearing today again, is that the Gaza people are not looking for charity. These charity or money or aid might be a stage in their struggle at this point that they need badly, but what they are looking for is that they're looking for a future. They're looking for establishing a country that can be self-sustaining, and they have no doubt, and I think many people in the world have no doubt, that if given the chance, they will establish a vibrant and very flourishing community and society. But the apex of my day today was the visit to Jabalia refugee camp, and although there were lots of targeted attacks in that very crowded area of the Jabalia refugee camp, which houses 120,000 people in a very small area, and there were lots of targeted attacks on houses that, of course, affected the surrounding houses as well. But we visited a youth center, or I would say older child center, where they have computer services and the like for kids that are around the 12 years old, early teens. And what struck me most was a statement by a young boy who said that quite a few of his neighbors had died in attacks, some of them whole families. And what he said was, I don't want to make friends anymore because it's too painful to make friends, and then they die on you just like that.
Very sad. You know, we often hear about how Gaza is one of the most densely populated places on Earth, but, you know, can you give us an account of that? I mean, how dense is it? How crowded is this area?
course, the whole Gaza Strip is the size of the island of Montreal, roughly. Gaza has 1.5 million people, which might not be very crowded if you consider it as an urban area. But let's not forget, Gaza is urban, is rural, is farmland, is everything. It is self-sustaining. So for people to self-sustain in such a small area, doing all their produce, including whatever they need, small factories, industries, and I'm talking here industries on the very primitive meaning, not like huge multinational industries. Agriculture, it becomes very, very difficult. The areas that are most dense are the refugee camps, and the refugee camps now house third generation refugees from 1948 Palestine. So they house a lot of the families that are from areas that are now the state of Israel. And those people moved to refugee camps when they were quite few, but they cannot expand their land because they don't own the land. They were allocated the refugee camps. So the refugee camps moved without any urban planning, from being tents to being simple wooden or straw structures to being concrete structures without urban planning and in the same areas. And then the families doubled and tripled. And you find that the Jabalia refugee camp, which can be the size of a couple of blocks in downtown Montreal, housing 120,000 people. Really difficult to imagine.